Hello guys, it's Aki here and welcome to a new video. Today we're gonna take a look at my custom tactics, my formation, my play instructions. It's an updated video because last time I made one I played with complete different tactics and also a different formation, I believe. Actually I don't have like one formation since I always tend to switch in game if I see that my opponent is starting to control the game or if I feel uncomfortable. So it's not like I have one formation I play throughout one tournament or game, but I'll definitely have one here which I tend to use most of the time. And actually I played with this formation before and I won Liga Esports Cup with it and I had pretty good success with it, to be fair. But at the end of the day I also struggled a bit when I started to play the same formation. Sometimes you just need to reinvent yourself, but now I'm back to this 4-3-2-1 formation and it works very well, and I think I found a structure and a key which works very good for me. And when it works good for me, it's not sure that it will work good for everyone else, but it's definitely something that can help you, can give you guys a tool to find your perfect custom tactic, formation, player instructions, etc, etc. So let's take a look at it. So on Xbox I'm starting out with this 4-3-2-1 lineup as mentioned. This is just a starting formation when you're taking a look at, for example, the player from Rome, Grenier. As you can see on the bench I have bronze bench obviously, but I also have some key players I would like to sub in throughout the game. But I'm actually going to bring Team of the Year Marcelo in when the referee kicks off the game. So actually the lineup will look a bit different, and as you can see here I posted my lineup when I subbed Marcelo in Team of the Year, and you can see here's the left CM. And he would never work there if you put him in automatically. But you guys probably know that, and that's not the important thing. The important thing is why I choose this 4-3-2-1. And it's a combination between my custom tactic and also my player instructions, because there are some good things about this formation, but there are also some bad things about this formation. The good thing is that it's a very balanced formation, let me say it like that. You're many men central, and that's where you win football games actually. That is by being strong central. Also, it's a very balanced formation because you can keep the ball very well since you have 3 strikers to play it up on, and you can use the L2 to protect the ball or just keep the ball with some fast passings, because there are always space for the 1-2 passes on this formation. Also, you can play very direct because these 3 strikers will most of the time stay in front and wait for the counters, and it's really hard to defend against 3 players. And that doesn't matter if it's Ronaldo or if it's a more cheap player like Sadio Mane, or Daniel Sturridge, Jamie Vardy, etc, etc. But the point of it is that it's a very balanced formation, which is very good since you can do everything with the formation in the game. You can change your strategy pretty easy. Some minuses with this formation is that your attacks can easily be stuck in the same pattern if you're not creative enough, since they take a lot of the time the same runs and do the same thing. So it's really up to yourself to be creative or play fast enough. But that is actually not really why I love this formation, like with the creativity and stuff. But I will explain you that later in the video, why it is that I think this formation suits me the best way. Another minus about this formation is that since I'll actually say it's a pretty offensive formation, and especially with the game style and the custom tactics I use, you can easily be kind of stuck when your opponent has the ball. If your opponent managed to get through the first pressure and be able to actually keep the ball on your health, then you can maybe struggle a bit, because the free strikers doesn't really offer you a lot of help in the defense. You really have to control them back then, but then you will obviously miss them for the counters. So that's a risk you're going to judge if you want to take when you play this formation. Heading over to the player instructions, we are starting out with the striker, the central one. And it is very important that this striker is pretty strong, I'll say, and good in the air, good to keep the ball, because I have the false 9 on him and press the back line. Rest of him is just default instructions on him, but he needs to be able to keep the ball and to make those 1-2 combinations, and also to have a very good finishing, because he will get a lot of chances from the right and the left strikers who will do the pre-work for him. Also, it's important that, yeah, if he's complete, it's just better. Like if he's fast, also it's just a bonus. But what I really want my striker, my central striker, to be able to is to pressure the backline all the time, to stress the opponent, not giving him a second to think about his next move, because that's a part of the strategy, a part of the custom tactics and the formation and the player instructions, obviously. The right and the left strikers' roles are a bit different. They need to get behind the defense all the time. They need to make those runs to push the backline back, to give more space for the 1-2 combinations with the midfield and the central striker. Also, I have them to, well, not pressure the backline, because I want to do that by myself with them. I want to be able to have a more mixed kind of pressure for them, because they need to get back sometimes also. It's about judging the right situation, but most important is that they are very fast, the two strikers, and they just simply also need to have some good skill moves and some good dribblings, because they are going to do all the assists and also score a lot of goals, obviously. I would actually recommend to have the left-footed striker as the left striker and the right-footed striker at the right striker, obviously, since they will get into angles where it's just more beneficial to have it on your right foot. The central midfielders' roles are also very mixed up. I just want the central midfield of the 3 central midfielders to stay back, and he has to stick to his position, and he also needs to have conservative interceptions. And that's also pretty mental, I believe, because I don't see a lot of difference between the aggressive interceptions and the conservatives and the balanced interceptions. But I just like that, because it seems like they are taking more care of when to be aggressive and when to, you know, just wait and judge when to intercept the ball. And the 2 other midfielders are like box-to-box players, which has the freedom to go forward and attack, but they also need some pace and some very good strength in the 1-versus-1 battles to get back fast. The fullbacks, or wingbacks as I would like to call them, even though they are fullbacks, need to stay back while attacking and needs conservative interceptions. I do that because the backs tends to go forward even though you ask them not to, and you can easily get stuck on the counters, but at the same time they play a huge part in my build-up. So you will need to have fast wingbacks, obviously fullbacks, and I like just for the mental part to think, okay, he is staying back, they are staying back, and they have the conservative interception, so they don't do risky interceptions. So heading over to where it gets really interesting, it is the custom tactics, guys. The custom tactics, which plays the huge part of why this formation can actually work so well for me and why it has brought me a lot of victories recently in important games. And we're starting off with the build-up play. I put it up on 70 in speed, and that's because I want to play as fast as possible and I want the players to move fast, and by that you're putting it on 17, so they will not just run forward like if you pushed it a little bit higher up than 17, but they play really fast, and you need to play fast, especially in Ultimate Team and especially against very good opponents. At the same time, I have the passing on 65, and I started out having it with 70, but it just seems that the passings were a bit too risky and a bit too fast that my players could actually be able to, you know, play like I want to. So I put it a bit down, and now it works well. They're still playing with an offensive mind when they build up, with a quick mind, and that's the important thing. I have the positioning as organized, and I think it's important that when you build up, you need to play organized. When you get to your opponent's pitch, it is time for the creativity to fold out for your players. And that is what we have at the chance creations. We have the passing at 70, and crossing at 70, and the shooting at 65, and the positioning as free form. The passing, again, we want them to play with risky passes, fast passing, and quick movement. Also want the crossing to be on 70. Actually, before, that's the biggest change in my custom tactics, because I had the crossing on 30 before, but the crossing on 17 allows you to pull out more crosses in, because the box will be filled out more. And if you put the cross in and you don't hit it in, maybe you will get a rebound, since you have a lot of players seeking the ball or the box. At the same time, I have the shooting on 65, because they just seem to position themselves really well, and you really want to get those easy goals like the rebound goals. So they will seek the shoot, they will really try to be in the suitable positions. So that's also really the best part of FIFA, when you don't have to, you know, really overdo or complicate things, when you just can be able to shoot and then get a lucky rebound or something. But at the same time, it's not really always about luck, because when you have your custom tactics, and especially shooting on 65, a lot of the time it is actually because that your players are used to get into those positions where you can be lucky. Then we have the positioning as freeform, and as I told you, I want the build up to be organized, but when you get to your opponent's box and on your opponent's health, I want them to be creative, and that's why you need the freeform. Heading over to the defense, we have the pressure on 75, the aggression on 75, the team width on 45, defender line on cover. And that's my major key with this formation. That is the pressure and the aggression. And as I talked about in the Gegenpressen, I actually put out the pressure even higher up and the aggression, because I want my opponent to be out of his comfort zone all the time throughout the game. I want him to do those dressing mistakes. I want to get those interceptions on his health, so I can make the easy goals and make it look more simple than just to be able to, you know, build up the game all the time, try to break him down. Because we want to have the easy goals, and this custom tactics actually allow you to do that. But of course there are some minuses about this high pressure if you're facing a player who are really good at playing out of it. But many of the times I actually discover that even if he plays out of your pressure, it will be a long ball down on the flank, and then you can take the 1-versus-1 situation with him there, and most of the time they tend to run down to your corner, and the chance literally dies pretty fast. And that is also why it's good to have some fast center backs and strong in the 1-versus-1 situations, because they can deal with it. But the point is to keep your opponent stressed all the time, and that's really what this high aggressive pressure does. So this is what I'm actually playing with right now, guys. And for some players this might not work, but for others it can be a key to really succeed with your FIFA games. So it's also about how you are as a FIFA player, but I can definitely recommend you to try this out and maybe make some small adjustments if you don't feel comfortable with all of these numbers in the custom tactics. So with this custom tactic and the formation and the instruction, you found a really solid central formation which allows you to pressure opponent all the time and score the easy goals. And I don't think you can find a better formation suited for this custom tactic. Maybe the diamond can work also, but I think this one is actually stronger because it is more balanced and a bit more stronger in the defense. And it is stronger in the defense because this formation cannot really get countered a lot by other formations, such as if you play the diamond, you will most likely struggle against the white formation. But this one is more balanced as mentioned, and that is why you can keep in this formation against actually almost every single formation. So with that being said, guys, this was it for today. This was my custom tactic, my player instructions, and my formation. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave a like if you want to see more of these inside tactics, etc, etc, and please subscribe if you already didn't. So thanks for watching, guys. The name is Rosemeyer. See you another time.